Hey guys, and welcome to the podcast puts out podcasts as often as Grums puts out video games. I'm the Dean of Games. Joining me today is Gavin,
You
and you can find me at the Dean Slater on all platforms, and you can find Gavin on Twitch at Graveyard, but that's spelled
not
with
anymore. I don't remember what
A-I-V-E.
my Twitch is now, but I know I have a different Twitch because I couldn't remember that Twitch.
Oh, really? I forgot about that.
Yep.
You're right. What's your new Twitch?
Fuck if I know. I'll have to find that out later.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. How are you doing?
Good. Full.
Yeah. We had my wife's fettuccine alfredo.
Yes, fucking good.
She is not Italian, but boy, does she cook like one. Shit, is that racist?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But what I do know is that this is Extra Extra, your weekly video game news podcast. Some parentheses around weekly, covering the news leading up to Sunday, December 8th, 2024. And if you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefing-room. Let's get to some news. And our first piece of news, it's a fun little story. Xbox Year in Review is now available. Xbox players can view their personalized stats with the Year in Review wrap-up tool. It's kind of like Spotify's Wrapped. And they can see how they stack up against other members of the community. So I have mine pulled up. Gavin doesn't have one because he doesn't play anything Xbox related.
Nope.
So my top game this year, and pretty much I've played two other games, but very little time. So my top game this year was Persona 3 Reload. I put in 172 hours into it. I earned a gamer score of 940 out of the base 1,000.
Nice.
I have 47, I believe, out of 50 achievements. My top achievement was Eagle Eye, which I unlocked on February 6th, and only 4% of players have unlocked that. And I am in the top 2% of this game's most active players.
Damn.
Yeah. And I haven't even finished my second playthrough or the expansion that they released yet. So I'm going to be putting more time into that at some point when I find, the time. I'm almost through my second playthrough. I'm almost done with it. I had one, so actually no, there's only 48 achievements. I remember because I had one achievement that I didn't get. And that one achievement was become friends with everybody. And, best friends with everyone, reach their highest ranking or whatever. I was one ranking away with one person when the game ended.
Damn.
I know. So now I have to go through an 100-hour game just to get that achievement. Luckily, the second playthrough is easy because you keep all your equipment and cash. So it's just, you just roll through. My second top played game was Starfield. I put in 5 hours this year because most of my time was last year. I earned 10 gamer score with one achievement, and that was Rook Meets King, and 17% of players have unlocked that. I am in the top 40% of this game's most active players on the Xbox app. Persona 4 Golden is my only other game that I played, and I put 65 minutes into it. Didn't earn any achievements. But that was through my second playthrough of that, too. So as far as, let's see, is that all? And then all of that time has been on PC, not on console, mobile, or cloud. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any more achievements. I've earned 3,221 points in 2024, which isn't a lot. That's the points that you get to redeem towards like gift cards or sweepstakes or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my busiest month was in February because that's when I believe that's when Persona 3 came out. So that was mine. I know you don't have one, but I don't know. Does PlayStation do one? Like a wrapped kind of thing?
You don't know what? Hello?
Well, hello?
Hi.
Hey. What is going on? Hold on. Does PlayStation do like a wrapped thing?
Maybe? I would have to look into that. I don't think they tell you that they do, but I think they do.
Okay. This is sucks. Hold on. My antivirus is blocking VGC, which is where I get my video game news.
Oh.
No, there is action required. Hold on.
What the hell? I found a glitch in one of the mods I use.
Hold on. I'm gonna. That's weird. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna have to shut off my fucking antivirus software, apparently. Because I know VGC is good. Can I just fucking... Of course not. Can I just close it? Let's do that.
I'm wondering why it's blocking it now, because it's never blocked it before, has it?
No. That is the weird thing. Alright. I turned off automatic protection for an hour, and it's going to turn back on in an hour, so we should be good after this. That's just weird.
Alright.
Okay, so next story. I should mark that. Hold on. That's about 10 minutes in. Okay. Next story. Ex-PlayStation boss says games should be shorter because development costs are not sustainable. In an interview with Eurogamer, Sean Layden was asked if it was enough to keep selling games to an audience that isn't growing at a rapid rate. It is growing, just not at a rapid rate. Layden acknowledged that the industry is getting more off this money off the same people, and suggested that game development costs had to come down. Every generation, it costs twice as much to build a game. What costs $1 million on PlayStation 1 costs $2 million, then $4 million, then $16 million. It grows exponentially. During the PS4 generation, which was the last I associated with, game dev was $150 million if you wanted to be top of the line. That was before marketing. So by that math, PlayStation 5 games should reach 300 million to 400 million, and that's just not outright sustainable. There's more to that, but I mean, I've been saying this on this very podcast for literally years. I'm sure you've heard me several times, Gavin, just mention we have to get shorter games. We just have to.
Yeah.
I understand the gamers' point that, they're paying so much they want to get their money's worth. But you're getting your money's worth in a enjoyable game, assuming it's enjoyable. But there are other options if you don't enjoy it. Steam has a relatively good refund policy. The console makers are kind of iffy about their refund policies, but like you can, if it comes down to it, just wait for the reviews to come out and base it off that. But yeah, it's just not sustainable. You're talking. I mentioned in my Wrapped that I did. That I played a lot of not PlayStation, Persona 3. Persona 5 is genuinely one of the best games I've played recently. But it has this one section that I personally feel is just padding out time. It doesn't really, it adds a little bit of like inter-character socializing, and it's a great way to grind levels, but it just doesn't add anything to the game itself. And so you can go through most of the game without going over to this section of the game, but the end of the game, you have to reach the end of that section. So even if you avoid it the entire game, then you're spending, 60 hours just grinding through this honestly kind of boring environment that doesn't really add much to the game itself. And then you look at other games where they are padding time by adding, just open spaces, just it's open world, and they just have this blank area, and they're basically just padding time by making you travel farther.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible. And it's just because gamers have this idea that because they are the consumers, that they should get everything that they want. And it's just not everything is for everyone.
Customer's always right mentality.
Yeah. And that saying pisses me off because that saying, the purpose of that saying is always misunderstood. by the customer themselves, actually.
Yeah.
The customer is always right. That saying is meant to keep the employee from um,
Taking advantage of
having
the
a bad
customers.
attitude. Yeah, having a bad attitude towards customers and all that. It's not because the customer's actually right. A lot of times the customer's
Right.
fucking wrong. But
A lot of times the customer's a fucking idiot.
yeah, but it's just so you don't blow up on them and cost the company money. That's what
It's people who
that's what
worked in
that saying
retail
is for.
before.
Yeah. Uh, anyway, that's my rant. What do you think about Sean Layden saying that games need to be smaller?
Personally, most of my favorite games have been smaller games.
Oh yeah,
Aside from my survival game things, because like yeah, that does the whole big world thing, but it's a survival game, so it's kind of the point.
yeah, and the survival games also, like, the gameplay itself is the game. It's not like there's some games like The Forest that does have a story,
Yeah,
but most of it is just playing.
but like Cult of the Lamb wasn't a very
Yeah.
long game. It
No.
really wasn't. It was pretty short. Um, let's see, Darkwood, not a large game at all. Darkwood is definitely not a large game. Let's see. Actually, let's look at what I have and find out. Uh, 7 Days to Die. It's somewhat of a large game, but they've also been working on it for 15 fucking years. One of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
Risk of Rain 2. Not a massive game. Phasmophobia.
No.
Not a massive game. And those are my favorite types of games to play, watch other people play.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull it up right now, but two of my favorite games from the last 2 years, they might actually. No, one of them got beat by Tears of the Kingdom, but let's see. But two of my
When I
most favorite games that I've played this past couple of years were short games.
but say,
Let's
but
see.
like I never finished God of War because I just couldn't finish it. It was too long, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Skyrim, got bored of Skyrim. There's just too much. Same thing with Fallout, just way too much. Don't get me wrong, I like those games. I like the lore behind those games. I like the aesthetic, the feel, all that shit. It's just too long. I don't want to finish them. It feels too much like a chore.
yeah,
I want something that I can go in, play for however long, and be able to stop whenever I want, and it feel like a natural stopping point whenever I want.
yeah. Let's see. Can I? So, uh, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I did not 100% that game, but I beat it, and that was 8 hours and 10 minutes. Um, and then let's see, 7, 8, 7, 22. Another 7, so that's 29. And then 6, so that's 35. So 35 hours total for me to 100% Pikmin 4. That's 100%ing it. That's not even just the mainline story. That's everything to do in the game.
Yeah.
And it's 35 hours. And it's one of my favorite games from last year. It would have been my game of the year if it wasn't for Tears of the Kingdom, which is a big game, but it's a big game that used recycled assets, which brought the cost down.
Right.
Um, but yeah, gamers, man. I made a Grums reference earlier, and gamers piss me off.
Like, let me see here. I already have 85 hours in Phasmophobia, which came out, what, less than a month ago? Maybe a month ago?
On PlayStation, yeah.
Yeah, on the PlayStation. 7 Days to Die, 133 hours. And I don't feel like I even played that much of it.
Yeah.
How many hours I have in Risk of Rain? 21 hours in Risk of Rain. I didn't play it very long, but I still loved it.
Yeah. And that's another genre where, like, they don't have to be long because the whole point of the game is gameplay with those, like, roguelites, which I'm not a big fan of that genre, but I get it.
Yeah. And to be fair, that roguelite is also just kind of like, it's like a roguelite with a twist.
Yeah.
Because most roguelites you see are two-dimensional, or I forget what the perspective is, but there's a certain perspective that kind of like corner of a room perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that one's just like a straight up like a fucking third-person shooter. That's a roguelite.
Yeah. But yeah, that I get it. I've been saying it for years. This doesn't come as any surprise to me. So next story. Donkey Kong Land 3 is now on Switch Online, completing the Game Boy trilogy. Did you ever play any of the Donkey Kong Land games?
I did not.
So I think I played a little bit of 2. I had a friend that owned it. It's fun. They're the games that I think about when I think about, like, the Donkey Kong games. Yeah, Donkey Kong games vary so much, and, like, depending on what Donkey Kong games you're talking about. There's Donkey Kong Country. There's Donkey Kong. There's the OG Donkey Kong. Like, it's not like a Mario where, like, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still going to be, like, basically like platformers and stuff, but they change a lot. But I think Donkey Kong Land was, it's based off of the Donkey Kong Country games. So in that, you're actually playing as Dixie and Kiddy Kong rescuing Donkey and Diddy, which I didn't even think about that. Diddy Kong, that's kind of a ooh now with the whole P. Diddy thing.
That's fucking wild.
But I wish I was more into the Donkey Kong franchise, because the people that are into it, oh boy, are they into it. But this edition brings it to 32 Game Boy Color games on Switch Online, and that's just in the West, with 34 in Japan. But yeah, I'm excited because we weren't doing the podcast at the time. We were on our little hiatus, but I believe Nintendo did say that they're going to be bringing their Switch Online to the next iteration, whatever they do. And that it will be revealed. Yeah.
At least in my case. I don't know about you, but in my case.
Yeah, they did reveal that they will be unveiling the next console before March. So that's something we're going to be looking forward to. But my going back to Donkey Kong though, my whole experience is the Donkey Kong animated show. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I have not.
Man, it is wild. That is a wild show. Um, there is a song. It's like one of those musical shows where every episode they break into song, and there's the voice acting's something else. And it Donkey Kong. There's one song where he's singing to I want to say his love interest. The song is about him showering her with coconut cream pies.
Pretty sure the only video game based cartoon or animation that I ever watched when growing up and when I was younger was the Sonic X show. They used to come
That
on
one
like
was
Saturday
good. I
morning
like that one.
cartoons.
Yeah. Yeah, no, if you want something to laugh at, just look up clips from the Donkey Kong animated show. It is, like I said, insane. They
I think
they were on something when they made it.
I think
Hello?
they're a late teen or earlier adult when they came out, but I've seen clips of it just on social media. Dude, that shit was cracked. That shit was so fried and so fucked up.
Yeah. All right.
Hello?
So next, hello.
There we go.
Discord's
Quiet for a long time.
really
I was like,
fucking
what the
around. Yeah, Discord's really fucking up right now, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So last story, new PS5 system update improves data transfer between consoles, which I know would excite you because data transfer was a pain in your ass, and I know Landon has mentioned that in the past too. He hates.
I ended up just not doing it. I ended up just
Yeah.
saying fuck it. So everything that was a local save that wouldn't be connected to the internet whatsoever didn't transfer over, but at the same time I wasn't fucked up because there's not really much that's not online that I play.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form, at least the saves and shit. So, I didn't get any of my old Minecraft worlds. Didn't really care.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of Minecraft, right? Is to create new worlds, and I know even Mumbo has talked about that, where he won't stay in a world too long.
I try to, and then I get an idea for something else where I'm like, oh, would have been better if I had just done this instead, and I'm like, time to start fresh.
Yeah. But yeah, so and like I said, Landon I know has complained about it too. But they said in the patch notes, we've improved the process of transferring data from. Oh my god, what the hell?
What?
Hold on. Another. It wasn't my antivirus, but another security software. Just I don't know what's going on with VGC right now, but it ended up flagging VGC and closing out the internet on me. We've improved the process of transferring data from another
Jesus Christ.
PS5 and enhanced stability when transferring large amounts of data, such as captures. We've improved the messages and usability on some screens. And then they added, of course, new games to their essentials and all that, like they normally do. And then you had a little experience with your recent PlayStation 5 update, which scared the fuck out of you, which is funny.
Oh, yeah. It didn't scare me. I was just more like, what the fuck's happening? It's more confusion than fear.
He did an update and restarted his PlayStation, and it booted up the old, like, OG PlayStation sound. And he's like, what the hell? That was fun.
You know, because like I knew nothing about it. Apparently, like it had been out for hours upon hours, like probably like 8 or 9 hours at that point, and I just hadn't seen anything about it whatsoever. And then it was like, oh, you can update and restart. I'm like, oh, sure, I'll do that. So I update and restart, and then it just did that. I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah. My PlayStation 5, which is right here, for those of you watching, it has not been updated in months because my controllers are broken, and I tried fixing them, and using the kits and all the like tutorials, and no, I'd have to buy a new controller, and it's very sad.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
I get that it's a high-end piece of tech, like as far as like all the features, but man, I wish durability was just a little bit better, especially on these sticks and not having drift.
I haven't had any problems with my sticks whatsoever. And do you realize how many times your cat has just thrown my controller into the fucking floor because it was sitting on the arm of the couch and he decided to climb up on the arm of the couch?
Yeah, well, it's not my cat, but yes.
Well, your child's cat still has chucked this controller into the floor so many times, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? And I have had no problems. It's not sticky. It's not. There's no stick drift for me.
My concern with the cat is when it knocks down your PlayStation 5 itself.
Dude, it's done that 3 times. And man, my PlayStation, dude, I don't know what it is, but any electronic I get just lasts. My youngest brother is still using our PS3, which for the first 6 years that we had the PS3, sat in a what would be the word? DIY house. I don't know. It wasn't built by a company. It was built by my stepdad. So it wasn't great. It wasn't really well insulated. Through the summers, played 12 hours a day, 7 days a week during the summer. No ventilation, so it's dusty as fuck in there. We never cleaned the motherfucker. It I think 2 years ago started giving him problems, and so he just cleaned it out. And he said that it was dust and electronics. But he cleaned it out, and it still works perfectly fine. And that thing's also been dropped and all sorts of shit. Still works fine. This PS5, play it constantly. I have it standing up, which you're not supposed to fucking do. Have it on constantly. It's been dropped several times. Works perfectly fine. Never had issues with controllers.
I know you had that one TV that was sitting in your closet forever because it broke, and then you brought it out and it just worked again.
Yeah, no, because it was the backlight. It was like the backlight wouldn't turn on, and I only noticed it because I was like, oh, okay, I'm not getting visual, but I'm getting audio. And we were like shining a flashlight down the back of it to see if we could see anything, and I could just barely see some of the icons for some applications on the TV. I'm like, hold the fuck up. And I realized it was the backlight. Well, didn't have the money to get it fixed, so I just put it in the closet. I eventually ended up just getting a new TV like a year later. And, or no, I didn't get a new TV. My little brother got a new TV from his dad, and I got his old TV, which was smaller than this one. And my youngest brother came in and like was looking for, I don't know, was looking for something in my closet, and he goes like, "What's wrong with this TV?" I was like, "Oh, the backlight doesn't work." He's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Here, let me show you." So I took it out, plugged it in, clicked the on button, and everything turned on. I'm like, the fuck? It had been sitting in that closet 3 fucking years.
Well, that was enough for it to
And
recharge.
it's the same TV I have in the living room right now.
Yeah. And that actually has pretty clear screen too, like clear
I got
picture.
I got this TV almost a decade ago. Because I got it when I was 18. So
the only TV that I've had die on me died because of my oldest daughter, and it died like 3 months ago.
what'd she do to it?
So we had been teaching her how to clean, and she decided she wanted to clean the TV because it was dirty. So she sprayed multi-purpose cleaner all over the screen, and didn't wipe it down fast enough. Not that you're supposed to spray it anyway, but didn't wipe it down fast enough, and it got into the grooves. And so periodically, for years, periodically, if you had it on too long, like the blacks would get kind of foggy, and the picture would kind of cloud up, and so you just have to turn it off and back on, and it would pop up and be clear again, and the blacks would look black. But
we used to have one of those old box TVs, and it was a massive box TV. If it tells you anything with how poor I grew up, we got this box TV for free from a friend of ours. Eventually, the audio stopped working, so my mom got another one, and it just happened to be the exact same size, make, and model of the TV that went out from a coworker of hers. But the video didn't work on that one. But this was PS3, so it was the color cords. It was an HDMI cable. And so we split the audio. We just stacked the TVs on top of each other and put the video one into the top one and the audio cords into the bottom one, and essentially had it working.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically,
but the speaker I have, like, we were doing something and I set the speaker down because we had left, and we came back and the TV was still on, but we noticed that there was some color fuck up on it, and we're like, oh no, it's going out. Something's wrong with it and shit. And then I took the speaker off of it, and I noticed the colors shifted when I did that. I'm like, hold the fuck up. And so I just waved it over the TV. It was like the magnets in the speaker that was causing it to do that, and so I just had to swipe it over the TV a few times to get the colors to go away.
Yeah, I think that's a situation where those TVs were a little bit complicated to do anything with. My grandpa actually used to build TVs like as his job.
Yeah.
And that's the job he had that allowed him to retire.
Yeah, my mom was like,
interesting.
Yeah, so he has his TV and all this, so I might ask him about it. I'm like, yeah, to ask him. She said, so good news, it's the exact same TV. I'm like, oh, that's dope. She was like, bad news, the video doesn't work on it. So I told him, never mind. I'm like, no, that's fine. She was like, what, you sure? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So she brought it. She was like, so how are you going to make this work? I sat on top of each other. I'm like, our TV's audio doesn't work. This TV's video doesn't work. I'm just going to split the cords. And she was like, fair enough.
Yeah. But theoretically, you could have just taken the speakers out of one and put it in the other, whatever.
Yeah, that's too complicated. That was too complicated for a 13-year-old to do, so.
Fair. See, I was always I'm not a mechanical kind of guy, but I was always the guy that was like, I wonder what it looks like inside, so I'd take everything apart and look at them and stuff.
Yeah, see, I'm also not and you can tell by some fact that when we got this window unit in the window, instead of getting a drill and doing everything properly and setting it up properly with the blinds and all that shit, I said, you know what? Duct tape.
Yeah. Well, you're also from the South where everything is fixed with duct tape.
Yep. The amount of times I have fixed electronics by just hitting it, it's great. There's something about people who grew up poor. There's something about people who grew up poor where duct tape and hitting things fix everything.
Yeah.
Just heard your wife laugh while I said that.
Anyway. I think that's pretty good. Did you ever figure out your Twitch, or will I plug it later?
I could see if I have it connected to my phone.
If not, no big deal. I can always just.
Your wife just texted me. My daddy's thing as a child: duct tape and threats of violence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm gonna guess it's Shallow Grave because that's what's connected to my thing right now. So.
Shallow Grave. Is that also spelled like your last name?
Yep. So it's GRAIV.
Okay, so there you guys go. If you liked, or even if you didn't like this podcast, be sure to do all of the things like hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button and hitting the bell at the XofPlays on YouTube, or giving it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use. Be sure to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow, and I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefing-room, you can get cool rewards and financially support the show. That's all from us. Take care.